Hello, welcome to another exciting edition of Sports Pizza. My name is Edwin Onyebolise. It promises to be an exciting time today because we have so much to unpack. It was an intense sporting weekend from tennis to Formula One, and of course there was plenty of football, both locally and internationally. On the show today, we'll be analyzing the English Premier League, the Spanish La Liga, and of course in Formula One, where Max Verstappen once again reigns supreme, 4 consecutive drivers' title championship, and of course in the world of tennis, it is Yannick Sinner's world. He led Italy to the Davis Cup final, making it back-to-back wins for the Italians. All of this and so much more we will dissect on the show today. I'm not doing this alone, of course. The usual guy, my guy David Abe, is in the studio. But before I introduce David, we need to go on a short break. When we return, we'll get the ball rolling. Sports Pizza, don't change the channel. Welcome back. It is Sports Pizza. Edwin alongside David in the studio. David, welcome. How you doing?
Yeah, Edwin, pleasure to be here as always. I'm also in that excitement.
Yeah,
but for different reasons, of course. I mean, but that was Arsenal's best game this season. But it's the Arsenal of last season, Arsenal of 2 seasons ago. Hopefully they can maintain this one. Hopefully they have turned the corner. Okay,
before we do Arsenal, let's start from the home front. They say charity begins at home, but I've never seen charity. Yeah. But for Ikorodu City fans, they are in high heavens. David, I'm going to put it straight to you. Is this team a top 4 contender, Ikorodu City?
I think because of the nature of the NPFL and how complex it is, and also the teams they have to contend with, I think they will do quite enough to maintain a mid-table finish. But top 4 is quite a tough ask for them in their first season in the NPFL.
David, it's no coincidence that Ikorodu City are currently 7th on the table, and you take a look at the results. They've lost just 1 game in the last 9. Yeah. They picked up points away from home. They've won games at home against the top teams. And I think if they continue with this momentum now, don't forget that this is a side that has absolutely nothing to lose. And the fact that we've seen a lot of improvements in the NPFL in terms of officiating, stuff like that, you get a feeling that the smaller teams, quote unquote, know that if you go away from home, if you play, now before, we tend to see teams playing not to lose. Yeah. Now we've seen a lot of teams take the initiative, especially away from home. If they continue in this vein, in this trajectory, I think they can be a top 4 side.
So I want to give them a bit of hope that yes, they can go all the way to make a top 4 finish. Like you said, they don't have much to lose. They've given themselves a very strong cushion, at this point. They are just 8 points off the top of the table. Is the NPFL. 8 points is not a lot, and I think they can close it. But I think where I will really form my opinion, my conclusion about them is in the away games against some of these traditional teams. They've done it against some of the lesser lights, like I would like to put it in the NPFL, but against the traditional teams, Enyimba away from home. And I think if they can get decent results, I mean, their football, the style of football they are playing right now is good. They are very fearless, and if they can take it all the way, I think they can manage a top 4 finish.
Bendel Insurance started live without Monde Odigie with a 3-1 win against Kwara United. Heartland and Rangers played out a goalless draw. The Oriental Derby, Lobby Stars and Kano Pillars played a 2-2 draw. They had to come from 2 goals down, Kano Pillars. And once again, Rabiu Ali on the score sheet, he scored a stunning free kick from well over 40 yards. He's a legend of the game. And I hope that the NPFL, Kano Pillars, the Kano State government will do a befitting documentary for the legend of this game. We have a new log leader. Rivers United have displaced Remo Stars. You seem to think Remo Stars will win the league this year. But David, they've been as inconsistent as I've seen them in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, and that's my fear for them. I think my stance is beginning to shift a bit. I think the last 2 games, the previous 2 games were, draws against, 2 of the top sides, and you expected probably draws. But they now lose away from home in that manner. I think it was very shocking. And it's that reason the inconsistency is a problem. I expected this to be a season of consolidation for Daniel Gumodede and his boys, but it's not panning out that. Hopefully they can halt this slump and then find their way back to their good form.
A quick look at the table. Remo Stars are second, like I said. Rivers United are first, 2 points ahead of Remo Stars, 25 points. Remo 23 points. Okay, now we have 22 points. In Yimba are fourth on the log, 20 points, level on point with Rangers, but have a superior goals difference to Rangers. Kano Pillars are sixth, while Ikorodu City are seventh. Yeah, you guys are wondering, why did Edwin have to go down to seventh? Yeah, it's a Lagos team, so yeah. Maybe. Just kidding. In the bottom four, you have Lobby Stars, Aqua United, Bendel Insurance, and Nasarawa United. From the NPFL, we'll go to the Super Falcons. They take on France on the 30th of November. 7 home-based players are invited by Justin Madugu.
Yeah, so I think for me, I think this is a new era, a new dispensation. I think there's more involvement. We saw the last international window. The number of players that were invited was close to 20 of them from the home base, and I think right now he's adding 7. I think he's going to give more opportunities to these home base players. I think one of the players that was missing, I think he gave reasons for that, is because of our involvement in the CAF Champions League with our team. Folashade Ijamilusi, I think, was good for Edo Queens, but I think a lot of them are going to turn out. But because this is a high-profile friendly against the French national team, I think that's why there's more of the international players, even though we've not Rashida Tadubadi and Asisa Tushola 2 major absences. But the likes of the guys that are there, Michela Luzi and the rest of them, are also good enough to prosecute this friendly game.
And still with the Falcons, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, done the draw for the 2025 African Women's Cup of Nations. And the Falcons are in Group B, what people have termed the Group of Death. Alongside Tunisia, Algeria, and Botswana of the African Women's Cup of Nations. The draw was done last week, David, and some have termed this as the Group of Death.
I don't think it's a group of death. I mean, if the Super Falcons, rise to their levels that we expect them to, I think they should do enough to qualify from that group, at least top or second in that group. But I think the standard of the Super Falcons has fallen, coinciding with some of these other African countries actually raising their level. And I think that's why it's become a more competitive field. But I think the Super Falcons can still get over it. Would they win a 10th title? I'm not sure, but they will do all it takes to get all the way to the final.
And finally, from the home front, David, Nigerian players who shone like a million stars over the weekend. Let's have it.
Yes, so Edwin, for me, 3 players over the course of last weekend actually shone like a million stars. We're going to put them on the front burner. First is Alex Iwobi. I mean, a lot has been said about him, but he scored his 25th goal in the English Premier League over the weekend for Fulham, even though it was a loss against Wolverhampton Wanderers. But I think he's been a consistent performer in the English Premier League. 3 clubs, and he has been consistent, over 200 appearances in the Premier League. I think it's a good one for him. Tolu Arokodare scored again in the Belgian Jubilee League. I think the more Boniface continues to drop stinkers for the Super Eagles, I think Arokodare's time will come. And the goal considered with his 25th birthday, so he's 25, is prime of his career. I think it's time for a Super Eagle call-up. And finally, for me, is Ademola Lookman, the man for the moment. With each goal, with each performance, he keeps making a mark.
7 league goals already.
Absolutely, he keeps making a mark. To think this was a player who had broke through at Charlton, got to Everton and couldn't find form, and now he has become an international player. I mean, when he got the move to Everton, we didn't see him as somebody who was going to be one of the international players that we could get. But fantastic for me. Those 3 players made the name for themselves over the course of the weekend.
Away from the home scene, straight up to Formula 1, David. Max Verstappen, 4th consecutive F1 title.
Yeah, I think he just got it over the line. I'm a bit of mixed emotions. I expected maybe a challenge from Lando Norris and the McLaren guys, but they did not turn up. I expected them to push it all the way so that the final 2 races will actually have some significance. But now he has completed, his 4th title in a row. Fantastic one for him. Only 3 men now have more titles than him. Drivers' Championship, that is, in Formula 1 history. Fantastic one for him. His first title, I remember when he broke through in 2021, won his first title. There was a lot of talk about Mad Max controversies, but I think the next 3 have shown a driver who is consistent. And I think, will he go all the way to make 5? Will he go to 6, 7? Time will tell.
And I'm going to put you on the spot. 4 titles now, 3 behind Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher. Can he eclipse both drivers?
I think based on his...
Will he eclipse both drivers? I
think based on his age and the consistency he has shown since he stepped onto the Formula 1 circuit, I think he will be able to do it. And considering the field that he's currently surrounded with, I think Lewis Hamilton will be the strongest contender. He's probably on his final year of his career. Lando Norris, unless he gets consistent, will he be able to push him all the way? But I think on the current way the circuit is shaped now, he's the strongest contender.
Welcome back from that short break. This is still Sports Pizza. Edwin and David in the building. Do give us a follow on our social media platforms. The handles are showing on your screen. And David, it is 5 consecutive losses for Manchester City. The rot continues. And at this point, the excuse of Rodri's absence should be untenable.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. When you look at it, the goals and the manner of the goals are similar. It shows that something structurally is wrong with that team. And you look at the way they concede also in spells. Within 5 minutes, they concede 2 goals. Within 6 minutes, they concede 2 goals. So it feels like they've completely broken down as a unit. Considering the fact that they had Akanji and John Stones as centre-back, they still found it difficult to defend properly. I think the fact that Pep Guardiola has still not found a solution, you cannot use the Rodri excuse any longer because this is the best manager in the world. They've had enough time to adjust Rodri not being available. And if they cannot find solutions within that team, then it calls to question what that squad is currently made up of.
Is this a tactical issue or a mental issue?
I think for me it's a tactical issue. I think you had Rodri missing, you had your next available replacement, Kovacic is also injured. And what did Guardiola do? Stick Rico Lewis up there. He left it free for all for Tottenham to exploit. They kept going through the center of their defense, and it felt easy for Tottenham to just draw them out, and then one long ball over the top, they are behind them. I think it's tactical at this point in time. And
for Liverpool, who have opened an 8-point lead at the top of the table, City are still second despite this consecutive Premier League losses. Yeah. There's a showdown at Anfield. If I'm Arne Slot, I will look at the City side and feel like we can take them to the cleaners. And if they do get 3 points, it's an 11-point lead. Now, 11 points is not insurmountable in an ideal world. We're just about a third of the season. But with this City form, it feels like it is insurmountable. Yeah, I mean, Arne Slot and his team are going into that game on a win-win-win scenario for them. They go into that game, even if they lose, they still have a 5-point buffer. 5 points buffer. But if they go ahead to win, based on how this City are, I mean, they open up an almost unassailable lead based on how City are currently playing and the confidence it will require from them to actually turn it around. So I think for Arne Slot and his team, they have much less to do. The onus is now on City to take the game to them. So you just see it in the way the game will be structured. Liverpool will not go all out. They will allow City to come to them and then pick them apart when the opportunity arises. In all of this, Arsenal got the job done against Nottingham Forest. It was a tricky game. Forest have been really good since the start of the season. But for now, Arteta and his boys have to keep winning so that you can capitalize on first overtaking Manchester City before you try and take down Liverpool. Yeah, absolutely. I think the two key things that Arteta came into after the international break, when he came to, the team must get back to their usual standard. We saw it a bit against Forest. They played some of the best football they played. This is Odegaard and Saka. You know, some of their usual triangles that Arsenal have missed creating chances. You know, we came to, so they have to be tunnel visions at this point in time. Focus on what we do. Keep winning games. We're not looking at the lead that we have to close down. Get back to our best, win game, put up a run, and then at the end of that run, you now see where you lie on the table at that point. It's a congested top half of the table, David. Chelsea in the mix, Brighton in the mix. Maybe Spurs if they can pull up some consistency in the mix. But Manchester United, it was a new start, a new dawn, a new era with Ruben Amorim. But he caught a frustrated figure on the touchline. It is clear that Manchester United, as much as the fans are hopeful, as much as the directors at the club are hopeful, they lack quality in the side. We saw it against an Ipswich Town who felt maybe we deserved our 3 points. Yeah, absolutely. I think we could see it. Amorim came into this job not under any illusions that we're going to perform magic. He knew that there was work to be done, and we could see it. You know, the squad looks good, but are they good enough to be better than where they are right now? Yes, but are they good enough to be where they want to get to? I don't think so yet. And I think for that, Amorim needs to do some work, and then the squad also needs some work, confidence levels, and then the quality as well needs to be upped before the team can get to where they want to get to. In the Spanish La Liga, at some point, it looked like Barcelona were running away. They've dropped 5 points in the last two games. The loss against Real Sociedad was a hard pill to swallow, but the 2 drop points from a comfortable winning position against Celta Vigo was more of a dagger to the heart than the loss to Real Sociedad. And Real Madrid, of course, took advantage of that. It's now a 4 points gap with a game in hand. All of a sudden, the title race is wide open. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's 2 things. We've talked about it over why the fact that all the clamor for Ancelotti's sack was over the top.
They are 4 points behind with a game in hand. They are not playing their best, and they are still in a title race. And I think that's why, we talk also about Barcelona. How are they overshooting expectations? Will they revert back to the mean and then become realistic in how they play? And just although they will be disappointed in the manner of the results and how the performances came, missing Lamine Yamal, and it looked like without Yamal they cannot, actually string together decent results. And I think it's a worry for them. And we knew there was going to be a title race. Madrid were going to do everything to defend their title. With Barcelona overshooting the expectation, will they get back to their normal standard? We have seen it now. So hopefully La Liga is set for a proper title race.
Still with Barcelona, David, that famous high line, the offside trap that Real Madrid couldn't beat, that Bayern Munich couldn't beat. We've seen Real Sociedad beat it. We've seen Osasuna beat it. Celta Vigo also beat it. To perfection, beats the offside trap. Have they been found out?
I mean, they were found out even in those games that they were able to win. We saw the game against Real Madrid in the El Clasico. We gave you examples of how it was just a matter of poor finishing and some decisions that went against Madrid that caused them to actually not get the goals. But it's easy to get. You can see it. The strategy is very simple. Get behind the high line. Time your runs properly, you will get chances. And I think it's not just a high line; it's an ultra aggressive high line. There's yards of space behind. Just time your runs and the opportunities will arise.
In the Italian Serie A, David, while I said a congested top half of the table in the Premier League, it is even more congested in the Italian Serie A. What is happening in Italy?
I think the usual suspects are doing what we expect them to do. Napoli as well, they are doing very well. We've seen Inter Milan, defending champions, doing very well. But there are now some upstarts that are actually putting their
Fiorentina from where? Lazio.
Absolutely. And also Lazio. I mean, those two teams, we did not give them a shout for a title charge, but they've really turned their fortunes around. And I think the managers are doing a fantastic job. It's why we're having a very super competitive top of the Serie A table.
And long may that competition continue. For a lot of people growing up in the 90s, the Italian Serie A was the go-to league. It was a league with superstars, from the Baggios to the Ronaldos. And of course, we had a sprinkle of Nigerian influence, the great Taibo West. And of course, Kanu Nwankwo, who had a short-lived stint with Inter Milan. We'll give you all of the analysis from the Italian Serie A in the coming weeks. But this is where we drop anchor on today's edition of Sports Pizza. We'll leave you with our video for the week. And remember to follow us on the social media platforms. The handles are showing on your screen. Lovely, lovely content for you. And once again, David, it's always a pleasure having you on set.
I mean, Edwin, I can't think of a better place to spend some of this time than here with you. Fantastic doing this with you. From David, it's goodbye.
And from me, Edwin Onyebolise, do have a sporting week. We'll see you same time next week. God bless you.